for Monday, February 12th. I'm your host, Ryan Matthews. Jeffrey Kline here to bring you the latest update on the Phoenix housing market. So let's hit it. What we're seeing this week is things are improving at different levels and different price points, is what we've been seeing. There's a lot of different cities that are kind of, some are going up, some are going down, and it's going to be very specific by what we've seen.
Yeah. Just to touch on that, I mean, I think that not only is it different cities, but it's different price points too, right? And we have some anecdotes that we'll share here in a second, but it's just really interesting that you're seeing vast improvements in some areas, and some areas are declining or just staying stagnant. And I think it's just kind of all adding up to like just kind of a confusing market right now, a confused market. And so, just kind of interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I think confused market is a very good way to kind of sum it up this last 7-8 days. It's like, say, take for example, you have some homes that you've been looking at in Casa Grande for $350,000. That's going to be far above kind of the average down there, and it's going to be moving slow. But if you're shopping for $350,000 in the Phoenix Valley, you're going to be competing with other buyers, and it's going to be moving fast.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Down here or down in Casa Grande, it's like, I had some people reach out to me about a $360,000 listing. And I looked at it, and it's very similar to another home that I'm going to be listing this week for $360,000. And it's just like, man, like people kind of need what they need out of the home. And I think that we're kind of in a weird spot with that. So it is interesting. So, with that, we'll see kind of what happens there. But it kind of, down here, that's above average, and up in the valley, that would be non-existent, first off. And secondly, if you did find something, it'd be bidding more.
Right.
And then conversely, I mean, we talked about, we have some buyers looking at some very high-end properties. And we had kind of an interesting experience with that. Do you want to share?
Yeah. We've been looking at some kind of upper echelon properties, shopping pretty heavily, and what we're seeing is that there's some really high activity, and we're running into, okay, how do we get in quickly so we're not competing against other offers and getting into bidding wars, which is, I mean, you think just a different price point, it still is going to act the same. But I think what I would take from that is that those that can transact are doing so quickly. They see that there's things happening. The prices are definitely increasing, and we're seeing in some of those markets that the appreciation, we're just about 10% overall as a market here last year in price appreciation, which is about what we would expect. But some of these higher end were 12, 13%. So that is also an indicator that, in these price points, it is still going up. And like I said, people with the money are making moves and buying homes.
Yeah. And I think it's really interesting. I think last week on Coffee Talk, they shared that we had 2,500 listings over $1 million, which is a huge number. You and I did some digging on some super high end properties as well, and we found that, and we probably shared this statistic many times, but when I started in real estate in 2015, there was like 2 or 3 homes that sold for $10 million that year, over $10 million. And last year we were averaging almost 3 a month,
right.
Which is just, I think, testament to the fact that Arizona's high-end market continues to grow. And I think points back to the fact that the market is just kind of in this like really fragmented state, right? Where it's like certain things are moving with velocity and certain things are stuck, right? Or in some cases declining. And so, to quote kind of the Cromford, right? They were saying that the data suggests that we're stuck in neutral, but the sentiment out there and like our anecdotal stuff is that we are seeing a lot of activity. You and I are busier than we've been in the last probably 8 months.
Right.
And so it's just different. It's just a very different environment. So just a lot going on, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think that's why it's really important, if you're out there looking to buy or sell it, really, you have to understand where you're shopping. Because we were talking about the 4 cities that aren't moving in the right direction for here: Fountain Hills, Surprise, Goodyear, and Scottsdale. So if you're looking for a deal, those are the 4 places where you'd want to go. But if you're looking conversely for the hot markets, like if you're looking to move to Chandler, Gilbert always is on the top, and Glendale, those three are seeing high competition. So those are the hotter ones. So it really is going to be very specific to your situation and what you're looking for and what you need and what that market's going to be like. It's not all the chips are on one side and all the chips are on the other side. It just is, it's very all over the place. So, I mean, the sentiment still seems positive as we see people are still transacting often. And I think the volume is up just with how many people we've seen in our sphere. But then the numbers tell us otherwise, that it's just kind of like you said, it's kind of in neutral this week. And again, could be what we've seen, could be an effect from the Powell announcement, just kind of pushing away, like forecasting the rates not potentially dropping until a little bit later in the year. So that could be just a lag reaction from, because that was 8 days ago Sunday night. So then we've had 7-8 days for the market to change and react to that.
Yeah. And I think we will start to see some of that kind of wear off too. We were listening to a different lender speak today about the CPI, right? Core inflation index. Mm-hmm. And there's a good reason to believe that we will see a 2 handle, right? Which is what they were saying, which could have a very positive impact on everything, right? Because that was kind of Jerome Powell's big thing, is he wanted inflation to be at 2%. Mm-hmm. So if we can get that down to where it's at, we're starting to see core inflation be at the 2%, we could start to see things really kind of turn around, some more positivity in the markets, right? More positivity in the economy. And so I think that'll be kind of interesting too.
Yeah. And we've seen, I was talking to just some friends today, and they even said, like, and this is just kind of an overall buyer and just human sentiment, like things are still expensive, like groceries are still expensive, gas has gotten cheaper, like that's where people are feeling it in their pocketbook. So, I mean, if they're feeling it on certain things, that can mean, hey, you know what, in certain, like if they're feeling it there, buying a house may not be what they're looking for. So that's where I think it really is something to watch. And I think if we can get to that inflation where it's manageable, I think that's going to, like we talked about last week, people want to feel safe, and that their equity's safe, and that their money's safe, and that it's a safe decision.
Yeah.
And so I think once that is kind of established, I think that's when it's going to lead to just a lot more like positivity in the market, in the numbers and in the sentiment.
Yeah. Have I ever told you, I don't think I've ever shared with you, my own metric on like how well the economy is doing?
No, I want to hear it.
Okay.
Do I put my full hat on too?
Yeah. No. I look at how many lifted trucks I see driving around.
I like it.
How many are pulling boats or some kind of a toy? Because they typically have the money and the gas, like they can afford the gas to go do whatever their hobby is, and they can afford the payments in theory, right? I also look at that as, it's funny because the last time that there was an economic crash, right, a housing crash, people, like a really popular car was the Hummer, right? Hummer's back, and so
it is.
I'm like, oh, that's a little interesting. I've seen a couple of them on the freeways. I'm like, wow. A little foreshadowing. Hopefully not, but it's just a cheesy thing. But I've always looked at, like, when people stop buying boats and stop buying the little razors and all that stuff. Like, I think maybe we'll start to see. Then I think we should be concerned, right? We start seeing a lot of those things on the secondhand market too.
Yeah, like on your Facebook Marketplace, like boat for sale, 75,000. The
Originally
LTT
75. The
lifted
15.
What was it? The lifted truck index. So the LTI has gone down when you see everything for sale on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like it. That's a good metric, and we'll have to keep watching that one in addition to the Crawford
There's no
Market
science
Index
behind it, dude. It's all perception.
I know, but we're going to make it our own, and we're going to start analyzing it ourselves.
Yeah.
So cool. Anything else that you think this week?
No,
that pretty dials in what we've been seeing.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much what we've been seeing, and I think that we're going to hopefully see some more positivity, more, just good sentiment in the market, which I think, like I said, we've been seeing. So I think despite the numbers, I think we're seeing some good stuff. So
that's what I think too. And I think bottom line is make sure you get with somebody who knows the area that you need to go, and then you can get a better idea of where you're looking to buy or sell, and then you can analyze it better for that particular sub-market.
Yeah, agreed.
Excellent. Well, cool. Quick and dirty. That's how we do it here on Market Monday. So like, subscribe, and share if this is something that you want to see every time it comes out on your Mondays. Until next time, we'll see you later.
Thanks, guys.